year, it's next week. So I get the deadline. And I did great because usually I think a lot of us dread this day. It's either who you're selling or just who you're not getting. And even when the Sabres have been good, I don't have to be old to remember that at all. Like Owen wouldn't, right? But even in years where the Sabres have been good, buyers has not usually come naturally to them. I mean, it's even this week they had a player turn them down. So it's always been like it only gets to like right here. And I wonder if this year isn't different, even though there have been acquisitions that we'll talk about right now with Paul Hamilton joining me on the West Her hotline. 3 players added here since yesterday, Paul. Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn from Winnipeg, Sam Carrick from the Rangers. Just to ask, do you know that this is all of it, or could there still be more?
There still could be more because, remember, the NHL is still in the 1980s. So to make a trade, you have to strap it to the back of a pigeon and send it to New York City. So 5 o'clock, they're still doing trades and things like that. So I don't know how in 2026 they're still this far behind the times. But, yeah, I've sat here waiting for the GM till 5:30 because all the trades weren't in and all that. So we hope to have Jarmo Kekalainen by 4, but this is the National Hockey League, so who knows?
There will sometimes be announcements from reporters or even from teams like, we're done. So we can look for that here in the next little while, I guess, since it is past 3 o'clock.
That used to be a thing here in Buffalo, but things have changed here. Those folks aren't around anymore, so that usually does not happen anymore.
So, Paul, what do you think of the 3 players? I mean, want to start with Winnipeg. I think that happened first. What happens to the lineup with the additions of Logan Stanley, 6'7", 230, and Luke Schenn?
Well, Jarmo Kekalainen started by trying to make a big splash. He tried with 2 different St. Louis Blues. It didn't happen for a couple of different reasons. So then he decided it's time to the depth. And I knew all along that he didn't think this team was tough enough. So it doesn't surprise me at all. He went in this direction. To get a 6'7", 230-pound defenseman who hits and causes havoc. This year has been a pretty decent offensive defenseman. He's never had more than a goal in a season.
This year is 9.
Yeah. The problem with him is how the Sabres have worked very, very, very hard at cleaning up their own end and cleaning up their turnovers. They used to be a turnover machine. And now the turnovers are fewer and far between, which really helps the goaltending because they're not facing 3-on-1s all night. In a couple of cases, 3-on-0s. And, so Stanley, unfortunately, for Sabre fans, it does turn the puck over more than you'd like. But there are things to like about his game. He does make a good first pass. Not the best in his own end. So just a depth type of a guy. He's a guy that would be on the third pair, and by the time you're in a 1-1 game in the third period, you're probably not going to see him again. Or you might see him once in the period, or just kind of the way they've been doing it with Bryson and Metza and Kesselring. Kesselring plays a little bit more than the other 2. So that's really not a big change.
Mm-hmm.
Schenn definitely is I think he's your new number 7 guy. Bryson is now gone, and I'm thinking Metza goes back to being the captain of the Rochester Americans. Anybody that they want to be eligible for the AHL playoffs had to be sent down today by the trade deadline. And they can come back, but they had to be sent down to be on the roster, the clear day roster. So I'm sure Metza probably is down there. I don't know about Ostlund. So, they would have to do that. But, it's a good guy to have in your number 7 slot because he still can play. He's not what he used to be. I mean, he's to an age now, he's not what he used to be, but he still can play and play pretty well. And he brings 2 Stanley Cup championships to the locker room. He's a 2-time champ with the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is important, especially for a team whose best players are named Dahlin and Thompson, who have not won Stanley Cups. Now, Thompson has won gold medals for Team USA on 2 different occasions. Darlene basically keeps saying he hasn't won anything. Another guy who hasn't won anything, Josh Norris, said last night on the postgame show, quote, "This is the most fun I have ever had playing hockey." So there's that one for you.
I can believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
what's not to enjoy right now about all of this?
Exactly.
They're just zipping through teams.
Yeah, that's what you get. And, they get a guy who is a career 52% face-off man in Carrick. I'm a fan of Josh Dunn. I think he does a lot of good things for the Sabres, but I think Carrick is better. He's an NHL veteran. He, again, is a guy that if you mess with his teammates, he will arrive on the scene rather quickly. And he can win you that odd face-off that you might need that drives Lindy Ruff insane, that he really doesn't have guys to win key draws for him.
With Paul Hamilton, so what do you think, all that said, the immediate changes to the lineup might be? You mentioned Metza maybe being squeezed out. Bryson is gone to Winnipeg. Roseanne is also gone to Winnipeg, but wasn't here. And I want to get to that in a minute. But Carrick goes in like tomorrow. The other guys go in, or one of them does when they get here, which reportedly might not be until next week.
Yeah, you got that visa problem, and with coming from Winnipeg, where Carrick is on his way. Lindy Ruff said he's a good possibility for tomorrow, so we may see him tomorrow. The other two, whenever the visas and all that kind of stuff that have to take place that I get very confused about, whenever that's all done, then they'll be able to join the Sabres.
And you think Carrick plays, and maybe Stanley plays when he arrives, and maybe Shen, but maybe not.
I think Kozak and Dunn become the two extra forwards, and Shen, I think, becomes the extra defenseman, and the other two play.
How about the departures here, Paul? I guess really we can cover the draft picks, but what's there to say? I mean, this is going to be a year where you're going to sell your draft picks, and they did not, to my knowledge at least, or at least not to this point, give up a first.
No, they did not give up a first. Rosianna, he needs a change of scenery. I mean, he's done okay this year when he's been up, but I'm still not thoroughly impressed, and I'm still not of the mind that he is going to be a decent NHL player, maybe at some point. But, so definitely he needed a change of scenery. I don't think there's any thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a former number one pick. That was the number one pick they got in the Ristolainen trade. You look at that draft, you can say, Roseanne's a bust, and I think he may be. But look at all the players around him. I mean, nobody really made the league. It was a horrible draft. It's not, you can say, it's a mistake, but I say to myself, there's only one or two guys that maybe you could have taken that were below him that would have been better. So,
Paul was kind of an obvious candidate for a move. I mean, not just for his sake, but there's only so many spots here. Before the Sabres got good, we were, going back a couple of years and thinking about Kulik too. Like, not everybody can play in the top six. And do I have guys that are cut out for a role in the bottom six, or do they need to be in the top six to be worth it? Then you're talking about money too. And this player, there just wasn't room.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't get real carried away when Mertka. I think Mertka's he looks to me like he's going to be a very good right-handed shooting big defenseman. But if he would have gotten traded, they like Kleber almost as much. It was the second-round pick the year before, playing at Minnesota Duluth. The year before that, the second-round pick is Sturbick, who is a right-handed shot. He's not quite as big as Kleber, but a lot of folks think Kleber is as good or better than Mertka. And the thing is, probably all three aren't going to make the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres have other guys here too. All right, if you had to trade Mertka for something, I don't think it's that big a deal because you have other folks in the pipeline that are also good. I mean, the cupboards are not bare around here. So even when you trade a guy like Savoy, or let's say you did trade Mertka, you still have other guys coming that some feel are maybe even better.
Do you think it's interesting what Winnipeg wanted from the Sabres? So Roseanne makes sense, I think. We're just talking about him. Does Bryson work if you're trying to advertise, Winnipeg has its press conference, and we think Bryson can be what in the future, and then of course the picks are the picks.
Yeah, I mean Bryson, I think he fit his role in Buffalo very well, which was the number 7 guy. And then Metza showed up, so maybe Metza was number 7 and Bryson was number 8, whatever. They're the 2 depth defensemen, and I thought both performed well. I honestly feel Bryson was having his best year. He's a good puck mover. He plays his angles really well defensively, and Metza has been excellent. I mean, his numbers are crazy. But you're bringing Shen in, so the Sabres might have just said, look at, they probably would have wound up, Winnipeg could have gotten him for free if they wanted to, because they probably would have wound up waiving Bryson. So I don't know exactly how that worked, but I see him as a number 7 defenseman in the NHL and nothing more.
Nothing since the moves from earlier with the 2 players from the Jets and the 1 from the Rangers to the Sabres. And I say that because, as we talked about earlier, there still can be and are trades that are getting out around the league, even though it's after 3. Paul Hamilton, I got to know where you are. You're not on the Zamboni, I'm pretty sure. You wouldn't be doing this.
No, I'm actually in the front atrium, just because they have a bigger media room that we only use for occasions like this that are off the atrium. So I walked out with our equipment so I could talk to you live. Didn't want to bother the writers inside the room. So
good. Nice.
And I think if Kekalainen were to start early, it would be on social media where we could just join it in progress.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can. I'm planning on being able to hear that, share that.
I do see some Sabres folks starting to file into the room right now.
Okay, Paul, 26-5-2 since this all started. That's insane. Numerous best team in the NHL comments last night on ESPN since that started, and now they're tied for first. What is there?
By the way, they have just sent out a notice. Kekalainen is starting shortly, so we should probably cut this short.
Do you have a quick thought on just sort of how insane all this is? Because we've asked you that before, I know, but after last night,
that the Sabres are in this position?
Yes, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and the players are just giddy about it because they've been doing is selling and selling and selling every year. Now they're bringing guys in, and they just love it.
So a sign that they probably are done. Once we get Jarmo Kekalainen in the room, there's not going to be anything else.
They're definitely done if we just got this thing from the Sabres.
All right, I'll let you go.
So
Thanks.
I'm going to get going.
Yep, good. Paul Hamilton on the Western Hotline. He'll set up so we can hear Kekalainen here shortly. And maybe I should break now. We'll figure